So I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about that because I thought it was very important to point that out about voting on your state and local levels. This is what happens again. Robert McBurney is an elected official. He's an elected judge. He was not appointed by anyone.
And he's
Um,
Republican.
and he is a
I want to
Republican.
emphasize, in Georgia, this is a Republican judge. He has been a Republican his entire life, yet he is doing the principal thing and interpreting the law in the way in which the law was written.
Was
He
written.
also ruled recently that the Georgia requirement of hand counting ballots, you can do that, but you still have to certify the results within a week, no matter what changes the election board makes. Here's the thing that I'm kind of concerned about is that a lot of women in Georgia are very motivated and mobilized around the issue of abortion. With this law now being struck down, I'm concerned that it's going to result in some women, specifically women of a certain background, no longer caring about this election and then voting for Trump and Vance in the state of Georgia. Or am I off base?
No,
I
I
don't
can see
agree.
what
I
you're
don't agree with
saying.
that.
I can see what you're saying. But I think nationally, I think the problem is people who have family who live in Georgia, they have family all across the globe, all across the
Mhm.
country. So they understand that this is life changing. My sister lives in Texas. I live in Maryland. So just because I live in Maryland and I'm in blue state doesn't mean I'm not going to vote just to make sure that we can codify Roe v. Wade and put those protections back in place so that way it can protect my sister if she decides to have an abortion.
I'm talking about white women.
Oh, white women,
Like,
child.
let me be clear. Let
Yeah,
me be
This is the
clear.
same.
yeah, yeah. You didn't see that part.
You didn't
Yeah.
say that part.
You gotta be
I
clear.
did.
I
I
gotta be
said
clear.
of a certain demographic. What I'm saying is
Oh,
that I
you
believe
see,
that white
I wasn't
women
paying
were
attention.
mobilized, and for a lot of them in Georgia, this was a singular issue that was pushing them to say, "I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris." With this issue kind of now, even though it's not off the table, let me also clarify that this isn't off the table. Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr is going to challenge this in court, and he's going to win. It's just a matter of when they're going to challenge it, if that makes sense. Like this ban is not on the ban will not last. It's going to be overturned by the other courts, ultimately flipped back by the Supreme Court. That's what's going to
He's not going
happen.
to
But
challenge
I
it
can't
before the
say, yeah.
election, though.
That's what
He's not going
I'm
to challenge
saying.
it before the
But here's the
election.
thing. Maybe it's up to us as content creators and people who use our platform. It's up to us to keep reiterating that this isn't a done deal. We have to continue to fight for that right. We have
Every
to
day.
keep that same rhetoric that Coretta Scott King said. Freedom is never really won. It's won with every generation going forward. We have to continue to vote and stay engaged in order to protect our civil rights and civil liberties. So we
And
have to continue to keep hammering home the point that you're not safe.
right. I made sure I put on my post today that women's rights are on the ballot more than anything else. I think women are going to be the ones who will really be affected the most out of everybody at
Millie
this
Chan,
point.
give me pause right there. I just got to do a quick fact check. Now,
Okay.
respectfully, that's not true. And Georgia voted for a Democrat when they voted for Joe Biden. That was the first time in 20 plus
First,
years.
I was
They
about to
did
say the
not.
first time since like
Oh, I'm
77.
not even reading this
Absolutely not.
comment.
Obama didn't win. Obama didn't win. Carry on. I'm sorry, Millie Chan.
No,
I
I'm
believe
saying
you got a fact check.
I was just saying to go with what Kenny was saying. It's very important to reiterate this every day. We're on the internet every day, talking to people every single day, and like one of the people said last night after the debate. At this point, if you don't know who you're voting for, you're being very irresponsible. We cannot be irresponsible with our rights. Like I'm past my childbearing years, but I have a daughter that it could affect in the next 10. And I just don't want that for her. And that's who I'm voting for. I'm voting for my child because this is a very serious matter. And it is something that it feels like it's right here for us, but it's very uncertain. And for people to say, I don't know, I haven't heard enough, I don't know the policies. If you're female, you are the policy. You are the person who is on the ballot. Just think if and someone had said to me when Vice President Kamala was talking about the 25,000 for homes and
I'm so upset with you.
6,000 for the children, she was like, "I have a home and I've already had my children," and I had to ask her, "Does your children want children, or have children. You are voting for your grandchildren. And I just really and truly, I talk about it every day. I don't know what else to say.
I feel like I just, to Millie Trump's point, I don't know what else to say. If you are a woman, whether you are past your childbearing years, the ones that get me, the two that I hear are, oh, I'm voting, or I'm not voting because I'm not a woman, or because I don't want kids. I think that's the dumbest thing ever. Over 400,000 women are sexually assaulted every year in the United States alone. That's 1 in 6 women each year. If you got more than 6 people in your family, chances are, boom, that was one of your family members too. Hello, big red truck. And so if you don't feel like anybody other than the person who is a victim of that assaulting, or whether they are just making a choice in their own life, shouldn't have the right to make their own choice, you are dumb. It's to a point now, 34 days out, if I'm not mistaken, that certain things don't even matter. Like, what are we talking about? Your economic policies are very important. Border security is extremely important. Healthcare is very important. Education is very important. We're never going to take that away. Also, to the earlier point, JD Vance nor Trump care about the positionings of a vice president, because they in no way plan on upholding the traditions of that role. Okay. So it's been that way how they got it, how since Vance has been in there since 1804. Prior to 1804, your vice president was just who was number 2 on the ticket. So help us God, that could have been Trump if we were still there. They don't care about upholding the systems as we know it to be. And so if that bothers you, if the idea of that bothers you, then maybe make the vote this season. And then now that this lunatic won't have the right to run again, will be alive because he's the oldest running person in history. Him and Jimmy Carter damn near the same age, and Jimmy Carter the first president to hit triple digits. So just make your decisions how you need to make them. But let's just be real. At the 34-day point, I'm not citing no more policies. Y'all can read them. If you wanted to read them, you would have. She been running for over 100 days.
I mean, you're right. She has been, but the reality is 90% of people in America don't watch the news. They get their news from sources like, trusted content creators like us, and they get it from social media posts from the Shade Room and Neighborhood Talk and things like that. I do want to just spend a very brief period of time talking about Georgia. This is a very